In 1945, the world celebrated the end of the deadliest war in human history. Cities rebuilt, families reunited, nations moved on. But deep inside a jungle on a remote island in the Philippines, one man never received the news. For nearly 30 years, he continued fighting a war that no longer existed. This is not a legend. This is not a myth. This is the true story of Hiroo Onoda, the man who remained loyal to a forgotten war. Hiroo Onoda was born in Japan in 1922, into a culture where duty was not a suggestion, but a sacred obligation. From a young age, he was taught that loyalty to one's mission was absolute, even above life itself. Surrender was unthinkable. Obedience was honor. As World War II intensified, Onoda was trained as an intelligence officer. His education focused not on combat alone, but on survival, resistance, and psychological endurance. He was taught to operate behind enemy lines, to gather information, and above all, to never surrender, no matter the circumstances. In late 1944, Onoda was sent to Lubang Island in the Philippines. His orders were precise and chillingly clear. He was to disrupt enemy operations, destroy infrastructure, and continue fighting until relieved by a superior officer. He was explicitly told that under no circumstances was he to take his own life or surrender. No matter how long it took, help would come. Shortly after his arrival, Allied forces invaded the island. Japanese troops were defeated, and most either surrendered or died. Onoda, along with a small group of soldiers, retreated into the dense jungle. From there, history moved on without that. Years passed, then decades. Leaflets were dropped from the sky announcing that Japan had surrendered. Newspapers were left behind. Voices called out through megaphones, urging the soldiers to come home. To Onoda, all of it was enemy propaganda. The war, as he understood it, was psychological as much as physical. One by one, his companions disappeared. Some surrendered. Others were killed in skirmishes with local authorities. Eventually, Onoda was completely alone. He survived on bananas, coconuts, stolen rice, and rainwater. He repaired his uniform repeatedly, treating it as a symbol of duty rather than clothing. His rifle remained functional. His discipline never faded. The world around him changed, but Onoda remained frozen in time. Planes flew overhead. Villages expanded. Technology advanced. To him, it was all part of an elaborate deception, a test of loyalty. For nearly 30 years, Hiroo Onoda continued his mission, firing upon what he believed were enemy forces, sabotaging supply lines and living in total isolation. He was no longer fighting for victory. He was fighting because stopping meant betraying the order that defined his identity. In 1974, a young Japanese traveler named Norio Suzuki ventured into the jungle with a strange goal. He wanted to find three things: Lieutenant Onoda, a panda, and the abominable snowman, in that order. Against all odds, Suzuki found Onoda. But Onoda refused to surrender. He explained calmly that he could only lay down his weapon if his commanding officer personally relieved him of duty. Astonishingly, the Japanese government located Onoda's former commander, now an elderly man working in a bookstore. When the officer arrived on Lubang Island and formally rescinded the order given 3 decades earlier, Hiroo Onoda finally surrendered. He emerged from the jungle in full uniform, rifle in hand, emotionally unchanged, but stepping into a world unrecognizable from the one he had left. Onoda had spent nearly 30 years at war while the rest of humanity lived in peace. He returned not as a hero seeking praise, but as a man burdened by time lost. His story remains one of the most haunting examples of loyalty, identity, and the human cost of unquestioned obedience. Upon his return, he was received as a hero by 8,000 people at Haneda Airport, but the applause suffocated him. He presented his sword to Filipino President Ferdinand Marcos, who pardoned him for the war crimes committed on the island, although many locals demanded reparations, viewing him not as a martyr but as a source of prolonged terror. In the Japanese media, he became a conservative icon of loyalty and honor, profiting from a bestseller, No Surrender, My 30-Year War, and NHK documentaries. However, veterans questioned his narrative, and his ghostwriter publicly resigned, calling him not a hero, but a stubborn survivor. Fame overwhelmed him. Onoda struggled with modernity, consumerism, the loss of traditional values, idle youth. In 1975, he fled to a Japanese colony in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where he managed a cattle ranch, and in 1976, married a compatriot, having 2 children. He divided his time between the Pampas and Japan, founding in 1984 the Onoda Shizenjuku, survival camps to teach discipline and connection with nature to disoriented youth, an attempt to reclaim what the war had taken from him. He died on January 16, 2014, at 91 years old, from complications of pneumonia, leaving an ambiguous legacy. For some, the epitome of unwavering devotion. For others, a somber reminder of the dangers of blind obedience, the denial of reality, and the human cost of distorted ideals. His story, immortalized in books, films, and debates, continues to haunt, questioning, what defines a soldier when the battle ends but duty persists? Some wars end with treaties, others end only when belief fades. Hiroo Onoda did not fight for glory. He fought because stopping meant losing himself. If stories like this deserve to be remembered, consider subscribing. This channel exists to preserve the quiet truths history almost erased.